Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade. Today giving the lowdown on Avowed and its demo that's just shown off at Gamescom on day 3, giving a huge chunk and playable gameplay slice of what we're to expect of this RPG coming out on the 18th of February next year. As a grounded stan, another game made by someone in the studio at Obsidian, I absolutely want to get into this in a big way, and I think a lot of my ground fans will really appreciate this game when it comes out, even if it's not a survival one. Anywho, sadly that's not the big talking point today. Alongside this chunky gameplay trailer, a bunch of interviews have come out and a bunch of dramatics about the fact that the game's only going to be 30 FPS locked. Shout out to Dreamcast guy, I didn't realise he'd fallen down the complete grifter hate bait route in adding just pointless videos complaining about nothing. But indeed he seems to have a big problem with an Xbox game being 30 FPS, and maybe some of you guys do too. But the developers outlined to the Iron Lords podcast it doesn't need it. It's pretty much where this quote has come from, stating that the game's going to be locked to 30 FPS. But effectively it's a single player first person game, although apparently third person is meant to be coming with it as well. And yeah, I just don't see why some people are so upset about this. Yes, we paid good money for next gen consoles and we were hoping to see an evolution to get better frame rates. But it's true, a lot of the time for games, competitive games, that's where it's really important. For a single player game that's looking as gorgeous as this, I'm not too sure. Having covered the majority of survival games over the last 8 years, I haven't seen 60 FPS on a game in absolute eons. As long as the game looks pretty and there's no screen tearing, that's what matters to me. So moving away from some of them negatives to the positives, the demo is absolutely gorgeous, highlighted and showcased by some of the Obsidian team working on the game. Shout out to Chris for the dad jokes. Yeah, you can leave them back in the suitcase when you come back from Germany. But they actually did a really good job. It's nice to see someone who knows actually how to play a game, instead of what you normally get is some journo from a game site who hasn't had an experience with the game struggle and not really know how to play. And we got to see a ton of the story, a ton of the choices that you'll be able to make throughout it. This is a story narrative led but action-filled RPG, and it's looking absolutely gorgeous. Much more colourful than I think I've seen on any kind of game of its ilk. The movement looks smooth, the world building looked great, seems to be a ton of lore going around, and if I surmise what a lot of the other hands-on impressions I've spoken about, it's looking like Avowed is really shaping up to be something special. That's not to say there hasn't been some constructive criticism. A couple of reviews I saw stating that they felt like the combat and the movement, as well as the world design, felt kind of very generic. But I don't know, everything I've seen from the small tiny trailer they showed off the other day, as well as this demo, is looking to be fleshed out. It's looking to offer a lot of choice in how you handle situations. It's not a fully open world game, it's going to be segmented into different zones. But nothing I'm seeing shows to me that it's sort of dated in any way, shape or form, not beyond what you would expect from a game like this. Coined a more colourful Skyrim, I could go with that for sure, and it's certainly got its influences from its Pillar of Eternity, I guess, parents. I can't wait to get my hands on this and showcase a lot of the stuff that's going on with either the skills and attributes as well as what you can do with your followers. I didn't realise up until now how important they are going to be. It is very going to be much like Mass Effect, where you can get them to help you in combat much more proactively than you might imagine. We'll come to that in a minute, but yeah, the worlds are big enough, or certainly these little zones, that you will have to dive into certain places, with swimming mechanics being shown off here as well. And some light puzzle solving as they try to open up a doorway by finding two specific essence, I guess, injectors or essence gates, locks. Very, very in your face, like saying, hey, why don't you use a bomb here for this item, which I think some people really enjoy. I do kind of feel like that could be turned down a little bit. Maybe that could be an option in the settings if you want a little bit less hand holding. But yeah, we get to see a very early slice of the gameplay where we've come across one of the special God-born people. And again, my lore on Avowed and the Pillars of Eternity is pretty terrible. I am planning to do some deeper research closer to its release. But the team showed off that they were looking for some research team, and they've gone missing, and seems to be a kind of mad scientist type dude trying to bring back a god in the form of a statue, and he may need the souls or the essences of as many people as he can. But demo shows off a ton of stuff, gameplay utilising wands, the grimoires, as well as melee sword combat too. Various different types of loot. There's going to be a lot of crafting by looks of things with regents and more that we're going to be using to craft, I'm guessing, potions, and of course lots of accessories to give ourselves some boost to our magic power. So 30 FPS controversy aside, the game is looking absolutely gorgeous, and that is the main bulk of why they also said the game didn't need it. Basically, they want the game to visually pop, and the more that they had to concentrate and worry about 60 FPS, the actual less visual style they were able to give their game. That's what I'm reading between the lines at least anyway, but they do mention that the VFX gives them a chance to really add a lot more to it. And we usually know how these things work. They might add it in a post patch in the future, but that's what it's going to be at launch. Turn away now if you don't like arachnids getting absolutely slaughtered, but this is what we see here with the build up gameplay showing of how you build up your stun management, and then you can unleash some special powers. A lot's been spoken about somehow some bait and switch from the initial reveal trailer 4 years ago to what we have now, but I would say the visuals are pretty consistent. I mean, we didn't see much in that reveal trailer, literally just some dude bringing out a sword and putting some magic on his arm as he's about to take on a skeleton, and it seems pretty on par here. Like, the animations look smooth and they look exactly like they did in the trailer. I did cover Outer World when it came out, and it was absolutely a much needed boost in terms of colour and palette compared to so many gritty realistic space games, and this seems to be the same case for Avowed. A lot of the animations have been tightened up since their last showcase demo, where they received some criticism for some of the creatures not reacting enough. But I'm really excited about exploring this world now and trying to find secrets and loot and chests, other ways to get through places, and the variety in different ways that you can end an encounter. Anywho, throughout the demo they eventually find what they're looking for. The mad scientist asks them to go and find, basically, or we come across it ourselves, and this is going to be the maybe final piece before trying to bring back a god. Typical fight with some skeletons ensue. Yeah, definitely still some of the enemies kind of look a little bit motionless or standing still. But this guy showed quite a good amount of agility to climb up and down in a comical fashion, trying to get at the team. So apparently the magic's kind of going to have a soft lock idea when you're firing projectiles. You won't have to worry about aiming as much, although you will probably need to be in the general direction rather than absolutely facing a wall. And a lot of the hands-on reports do kind of say that magic was probably the more tougher out of the classes available, including barbarian and I guess range or archer. I don't mind that either, a skill kind of ceiling or something you're going to have to get used to really master it, especially when it's a bit different like magic. That's pretty cool. With a big focus on the grimoires. In fact, apparently you can hold 2 grimoires in your inventory and utilise all different types of spells as you're fighting. And that combination's really got me excited. It's been a long time since I played maybe a game like this where you had so many different options. It probably is Mass Effect that I really got into. And yeah, the directions of your companion, who is voiced by Garrus from that long-running series, is really good here as well. You can literally slow down time, almost like bullet time, as you direct your companion to either pull out a special move or maybe do something different. There's lots of sweet, nice animations as well for finishers. And it was pretty challenging. As said, the team here have some experience. I'm glad to see no one else struggling with it, but there we saw the finishing move. And yeah, overall, I'm really impressed. Some last things to note: if you're not big on huge amounts of exposition and story, there's going to be almost a recap log that you'll have with people that you've come to meet and have conversations with. So if you do, or you accidentally skip by anything, you'll get a general idea of what or who they were talking about, rather than having to read through or go through another 50 different choices. That is music to my ears. That's another reason why I think I'm going to enjoy this game. And the fact is, since the announcement of the delay, that it won't be coming now until February because there's just a stacked month, I could see why. There's so many other big games it might have overshadowed, and you can see how some people are frothing at the bit to lay out some sort of criticism or say there's some sort of L's going on at Xbox. So why not give it a bit more time, and hopefully that means they can polish things up even more and we'll have an even better experience when it releases next year. Like I said, I'll be all over it. A bit of a weird one, I know, from me, but I've done it before. I've covered survival games and then moved into RPG just because sometimes it really takes my tickle. So for any substantial news about Avowed, I will be here covering anything else. I'm sure we'll see another glimpse maybe at the Game Awards show. And yeah, I'll be eager and sending out my begging letters to Obsidian, try and get hold of a review copy as soon as I can. Until next time, Ratbags, I will catch you later.